For the next few minutes, don't worry about anything. Just let loose and laugh.
Lord knows they will. It's the Tiny and Katie Show.
Hey, I'm Tiny.
And welcome back. It's Katie, episode 6. Can you believe it?
I cannot believe we've had 5 episodes in the books. We got to give a big thanks to, and we didn't say this last week, Katie, but the first advertisers who believed in us and were with us way back when we were on the Tiny and Katie Show in the mornings on WAYZ. Big thanks to Roots Hair Design, Route 11 in Marion.
Do you know how long we've been with Roots Hair Design? We were there for their grand opening. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah, that was like 12 years ago. So we've been with Roots for a very long time. I still use them all the time. Katie's best. Yes, thank you so much for Roots Hair Design in Marion.
Absolutely incredible. And find them online. I have their beautifully done brochure here, by the way.
Ooh, very fancy.
RootsHairDesignLLC.com is their website, and they have a great team. And I'm going to book me a massage. I know that's happening.
You absolutely should. You absolutely should.
However, you, I won't fall asleep like Rip Van Winkle.
Well, you might, though. And there's nothing wrong with falling asleep to a very good massage. Tiny, I want to start this off. I think that we need to give you a little bit of props here. And I know you don't like to do this. And so this is completely unscripted for you. And you have no idea where we're going with this. But
not a clue.
I definitely recognize your accomplishments that you have going on lately. So if you don't know, Tiny has lost a significant amount of weight. 130 pounds?
Right around 130, 140, yeah.
Right. So Tiny, and forgive me, I'm just going to kind of share a little bit of your personal life. I hope that's okay.
Sure.
But you've struggled with weight loss since I've known you, and would lose weight, put it on, lose weight, put it on, and you've lost all this weight and you look so great. But you put something on Facebook the other day that I think we need to take a second and just really recognize it. You did your very first pull-up.
Oh my, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
That was. Well, first of all, thank you, and thank you to everybody who is watching this, who's followed along with that journey. It's still an ongoing process. It's something that I still struggle with every day. I'm afraid I'm going to go back, but we just keep pressing forward. This is the longest I've kept the weight off. Absolutely. Ever.
And you're way more dedicated. I can feel it this time than you ever have been in the past. But you put it on Facebook, and that's very unlike you to put something on Facebook that's kind of, I don't want to say showy, but like, hey, look what I did. That's not your speed. So I know that took a lot of courage. But I wanted to start off by saying congratulations. Thank you. Deal. It's a big deal.
I have a funny story that goes along with this. That was, I would say that Tiny had a Katie moment, if you will, when that happened.
Oh boy, this never happens.
Katie gets, in case you haven't noticed in 5 episodes, and if you haven't, then you must be living under a rock and not paying attention. But thank you for the views and the listens anyway. But Katie will get excited at the dumbest, smallest things ever. One of her friends, Stokes, put it best when she said this. We were on the air way back when, and Katie was talking about how she got excited when she saw somebody who they shared something.
No, they were driving the same car.
That's right. Driving the same car. And Katie is literally on Interstate 81, window down, half out there, window, practically showing her breasts. And it's like, oh my God, look at the car. Look at the car that I'm driving. It's the same one you drive. And
that might be a slight exaggeration, but yes.
If anything, it wasn't enough. So I'm on the air and I'm like, I don't understand what the big deal is, Katie. I mean, thousands upon thousands of people had these cars. Well, her friend Stokes calls in and she said, Tiny, Katie would get excited if she saw someone drinking a Sprite and she had a Sprite the week before. Katie would get super excited.
I think I'm glad we kind of brought this up because I've always thought that I might have some kind of condition. Mm-hmm. And I've thought about talking to like doctors about this. When something happens that is coincidental, I can't like physically handle it.
Yeah.
For example, if I meet somebody who has the same birthday, I mean, I'm passed out. I can't even speak for minutes. The one day I went to Costco and I was buying, just random stuff off the shelves, and I was in the checkout and the person in front of me had almost the exact same items in their cart. And I mean, I started like crying and I was like, do you know we have the exact same items in our cart at Costco?
Yeah, but now to be fair,
I'm like
this
crying about it and sweating, and she's like, "Okay, crazy."
What did you expect this person to do? Get excited and be like, "Oh yeah, we both have reading for dummies. Great, thank you."
Well, wait until I see somebody, and this happens all the time. I see somebody I know on the road. I recognize the car and I think, that's my friend, that's my friend, that's my friend. So the other day, for example, I thought I saw my friend Lacey from the gym on the road, and I thought, oh, I think that's her car. And I get up behind her, and we're on, a route that's not very close to town. So it was kind of coincidental.
Yeah.
And I see her, and it is her car, and I know by the stickers on the back of her car. And I mean, instantly, I am sweating. My windows are going down. I'm beeping, and I'm out my window with my hands going like insane. And I'm like, Lacey, it's Katie. Do you see me?
Like,
beep, 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 beep. Lacey. Now, mind you, I'm almost hitting 17 vehicles in the process to say hello to Lacey. I mean, everybody's like, beep, beep, lady, get back in your car. Like, we all want to get home safely. It's like a condition I have when something coincidental happens. I like, Tiny, I've won raffles before, and I have to sit down before I can get up and collect them because I'm just like having a panic attack.
Well, right. And when they hand you your $5 McDonald's gift card, you practically pass out.
And honestly, if it is a $5 McDonald's gift card or a $5,000 gift card, it's the same exact reaction.
It is.
I think it's like it's got to be a condition. I don't think people do this. As soon as if I'm out with people and I note it and I say, oh, there's somebody I know, they like whoever I'm with will book it in the opposite direction because they know it's going to be a fanfare and all eyes are going to be on us. It's like a condition.
I want our wonderful listeners to do this. Find us on Facebook if you're not already there. Tiny Katie Pod. We're Instagram, Twitter as well, and YouTube. Leave us a comment and let us know. Are you the same way? Do you know anyone who's the same way? Because I am completely the opposite. But Katie is actually, 100%. When she's driving, she's on the lookout for people she knows.
For cars I know. Yeah.
I have said before, and I'm the son of a preacher man, the Lord himself could be walking down the street and practically cut in front of me, and I would have no idea. I'm completely oblivious. I remember one time Katie saw me on the road way back when.
I mean, it's game over. I'm freaking out.
And she took offense to the fact that I didn't know. I had no idea. She's like, well, how could you not have seen me? I was hanging out of my window, honking my horn, almost hit 12 cars, cut in front of you, set off fireworks. How did you not see me here? I'm like, I'm sorry, I had no idea. But anyway, so before that turned into a Katie story, mind you.
Sorry. Yes, we're really excited about your pull-up. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, we're so excited about your pull-up, Tiny. Talk about me, please.
So talk about me, how excited I get about everything.
So here was my Katie moment when it came to the pull-up. First of all, I described that if you've ever done the presidential fitness test, when I was in elementary school, Katie, you as well, I dreaded that all year long. It seemed like there were a small group of kids who looked forward to it, and they were the speed, like crazy, could do everything, and good for them. And most of them still can, and great. And then there was the group like me. There was some in-betweens, but it was... You got to run a mile? No. I'm probably the reason that they renamed the 1 mile run the 1 mile run walk because it was just going to walk it. But my most embarrassing one was the pull up because I knew I couldn't do it. The teacher knew I couldn't do it, but they made me.
Tiny, most people cannot do a pull up. It is incredibly difficult.
Well, okay, I understand, fair enough, but I'm saying as a kid, I don't know what the statistics say. What I'm saying is that the teacher was like, well, no, Daniel, you have to try. So I go up to the pull-up bar, I grab onto it, and I hung there like a tea bag.
You didn't even try.
Dang, I mean, I really did, but I knew I couldn't do it. There was no way I was moving all the weight I was carrying around as a kid. Point is, so Saturday I'm at the gym, as Katie referenced, and the video is on Tiny WAYZ Facebook if you want to see.
You need to put it. I was trying to share it to our Facebook page. I couldn't.
I'll do that.
Figure it out, but you need to share it because it's awesome. That's a huge milestone for you.
I'll put some clips in here as well. But so here's the thing. So when I did this, where it's what they call test day, and I don't know where you go to the gym if you have that as well, where you max out for things and see what you can do. So we do, sit-ups, pull-ups, bench press, everything. So this day was pull-up day, and last time I tried to pull up was a month and a half ago. It's not something that I've endeavored to do ever. I'm just like, I can't do it. But a month and a half ago, I got maybe halfway up and that was it. So the other day on Saturday, I grabbed the bar and I start to pull myself. And before I know it,
you're like, I'm up.
I'm up.
And I see the bar below me.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's the bar.
There it is. Yeah.
There's dust on this side of it. What the heck? So now, mind you, there's like 8 other people on either side of me. Where there's all these gym racks, the squat racks. And I dropped down after doing about I think it was 3. It was at least 2, maybe 3. I was so like over the moon. And I dropped down and I'm like, okay. And here it was, what that was, in case you didn't pick up on what I was just doing there, I was so excited inside. I was so just overjoyed of what I'd just done. It was something I didn't think would happen, wasn't even really trying to do, and did. Hasn't happened in my entire life. And mind you, and Katie knows this, and she just said so a couple minutes ago, I'm not one who likes attention. I don't seek it. It's not something on my radar at all. But I was like, how is everybody else just acting completely normal here? How did nobody see that my life just completely changed?
And I felt it. That's why I wanted to bring it up, because you went on Facebook Live, I think, and you were talking about it, and I could feel your emotion in that video. I could feel it. And I was like, that was a big moment for him.
It was.
That was huge. And, I know your weight loss journey has been difficult throughout your entire life. And I'm excited that you're at a place where you can do. And, Tiny, I kind of have something similar going on. What kind of gym? Do you do a CrossFit gym? Or is it like boot camp?
It's kind of sort of what I like about it is it's not as rapid pace as CrossFit, but it's very similar. Like, I've seen videos that you post where you go, and we do very similar things, but just not as quickly. It's not as quick of a turnover.
So I do CrossFit, and I've done CrossFit for years, and say what you want about CrossFit, because as soon as I joined, of course, I heard, oh, CrossFit's a cult, this and that about CrossFit. But listen, if I'm in a cult that makes me want to work out,
yes,
it makes me want to better myself, I am 100% happy to say, yes, I'm a part of that.
Who are you hurting? You're helping yourself.
I don't know how it got this reputation.
You know why? I'll tell you why. Can I tell you why?
Okay, please, yes.
I don't know what, there is a term for it, and I don't know what it is, but it's the brand name haters. It is everybody wants to hate the big dog in the yard. Everyone. CrossFit's just the biggest target, the name that everyone knows, and they're the ones that make the most money and have the franchises and whatever. And then come along these, mom and pops, which I love. I don't begrudge anybody the opportunity to do, but then there's some people who have that, as you said, look down their nose like, oh, CrossFit.
And they'll say,
those are judgmental people.
No, unfortunately, I completely fit the stereotype, because they'll say, do you want to know if somebody does CrossFit? Talk to them for 5 seconds. And I'm 100% like, hi, my name is Katie. Yes, I do CrossFit. Yes, I'm very proud of it. And yes, I'm going to tell everybody about it, because I do things I never, ever thought I would be able to do.
Absolutely.
I love my gym, Shenandoah Fit. Shout out to you guys, because it is the best. I love that place. It makes me excited every day to go and do things I never thought I could. But kind of along the same lines of what you were saying, I signed up for a CrossFit competition at the end of April.
Oh,
and
Lord.
I've been wanting to do one for a while, but I'm not a superstar athlete. I'm okay. I would say I'm average-ish at CrossFit. I'm definitely not one of the major athletes.
Right.
But I thought it would be fun, and this is a very fun kind of beginner-ish intermediate festival that I signed up to do. So I have been practicing and practicing and practicing, because the weight that you have to lift is a little bit heavier than what I would normally be comfortable with.
But I think you'll probably be surprised when you get there how
the adrenaline.
Well, not only that, but what you've done, you don't think you can do. Like for me, I didn't think a pull-up was coming that day.
Yeah.
I just really thought it was going to be typical, halfway up. But everything that I have done for the last month and a half at the gym had prepared my body to do that. And so I think you're going to find that this is the same thing when you get there is, like you said, your adrenaline coupled with what you've done and you trained for, you're going to nail it.
I mean, I'm the weakest link on the team. The girls I'm on the team with are amazing. They are so strong, and I'm definitely the weakest link. They know it. I've said it. Please don't be mad at me that day. But it was like I ran a half marathon a couple of years ago, and when I was training for my half, I only ever ran 10 miles total, because they say you don't have to run the full 13 because the day of your adrenaline is going.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you will, and it's true. So
That's
I'm
very
kind
true.
of banking on that. Yeah. So I just wanted to say congratulations, Tiny. That was a big deal. And you need to brag on yourself a little bit more than you do.
I appreciate
so I'll
that.
do it for you.
So Katie gave a shout out to Shenandoah Fit. So if you can't get to, or if you're not near Shenandoah and you can't get there and you're up maybe in the Maryland area, then I encourage you. Hagerstown Strength Camp is where I go. And both Katie and I do our super early classes. I love. Katie, what time is your class?
So I leave my house at 5:30 to get to work because I have an hour commute to work. So I go to the 4 or the 5 o'clock class. But I am excited every day to go to the gym and work out every day. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I cannot emphasize enough when you reach a certain point and you start working out, it is, and Mary, my wife, had told me, she said, you're going to reach an addiction phase. And you're going to become to the point where you do not want to live without it. And I got there a while back, and it is true. Like to the point where, like today, for instance, I had to stay longer at work, and I had a class. It wasn't weight training. It was a spin class, but that's just one of the things that I do. And the thought of me maybe missing that almost made my head spin. And I know things happen. I get it. I'm not. Tiny should never have anything happen, so he can't. I understand, but at the same time, it hits me harder than most people because I've been very recently on the other end, and I don't want to revert back. But let's go to some good things here. I promised you a couple stories last week, and I plan to deliver at least 2 of them. You don't want your hair just cut or styled. Get your hair designed at Roots Hair Design, 5459 Molly Pitcher Highway in Chambersburg, 717-375-2130. How about a women's cut? $32, $35, or $38? Guys, you're not going to get a better price on the cut you're going to receive at Roots Hair Design than $23. Now, if you have a teenager, they're getting ready for those summer pictures, prom season's coming up, girl or boy, $25 and $20 respectively. A kid's cut, just $18. Maybe you need your roots touched up, they have that as well. And they can do your nails, take care of your lashes, facial treatments, waxings, and what I plan to get is a massage. Roots Hair Design, 5459 Molly Pitcher Highway in Chambersburg. $10 off your first service to any new guests, and they're approaching their 12th year in business. You don't last that long if you're not doing something, or in their case, a lot of things right. Roots Hair Design, we can't thank them enough for being part of the Tiny and Katie Show.
More of the Tiny and Katie Show starts now.
So Katie has a tendency to really just shred some words, mishear words. I often said there should be a game that we should play called What Tiny and Katie Heard, because they're completely different. I typically hear what's normal, and then Katie hears something completely different. So Katie, because I don't want us to run out of time, I want you to hit me with the best one first, in my 100%. Opinion. In my opinion.
Sit back, saddle up. This is my favorite story. Story.
Hang on.
No. I got it.
That doesn't mean it's my favorite. I want to make sure we're on the same track.
No. You sit back. You just sit back. I got this. Okay.
If you don't do the one I want, I'm going to be mad.
I got you. Don't you worry. Okay.
All right.
So Tiny is correct. I have a tendency to mispronounce things and hear things incorrectly, and I'll say it and everybody kind of laughs about it, but it's a great quality to have because I have a really good sense of humor, so it doesn't really upset me.
Right.
So a couple years ago, I'd say maybe like 11 or 12, I just gotten this new car. I gotten a Jetta, and I was really excited about this Jetta. It was beautiful, and I purchased it from an advertiser on the radio station at the time. So we were very openly talking about the car on the air, and Tiny was like, well, tell me, I mean, this is live on the air. This is not recorded. There's no delay. This is live on the air.
Yep.
So Tiny's like, oh, well, tell me a little bit more about your car. And I said, well, I got this Jetta and I love it. It has these leather seats. It has a sunroof. It's got everything. And it has the key of the century.
She's like, I don't know what that is, but.
Tiny takes a pause because he in his mind, he's like, I don't know what she means, but let me try to figure this out. Yeah. So you said, Katie, it has a what? And I said, it's got that key of the century. And you said, Tell me a little bit about this. I don't think I know this key, because Tiny full blown knows I am completely messing up the word.
Yeah.
But instead of just outing it and laughing, he decides to have a little fun.
Oh yeah. Especially since we're live on the air. I mean, I knew.
And Tiny is
Oh my
He's
God.
so good at reading me. He knew what was happening.
Yeah.
He knew exactly. He knew what word I was trying to say, where I was going. And he says, "Katie, tell me about this key of the century. I don't know about this key." And I said, "It's that key that you click it and it unlocks your car and it goes dee-dee, and everybody wants to have it. It's like the best key that's on the market, and not every car has it, so they're calling it the key of the
Newest
century."
technology.
Like, yeah, it's so up to date. Like, look how cool I am. I have this key of the century. And so Tiny keeps the key of the century going for a little bit until he can't anymore.
Yeah.
And he's falling over in his chair laughing. And I have zero idea what's happening. And I say, what's going on here?
Can you let me in on the joke?
Did I say something wrong? Or, what happened there? And he goes, in the midst of his, and you've heard Tiny laugh, like it's amazing. He finally catches his breath and he says, "Katie, it's called a keyless entry, not the key of the century." But Tiny, seriously, listen to it. Keyless entry, key of the century. Like,
Yeah.
there is no difference between the two. It sounds identical.
Well, just because it sounds identical, I was like, what? How could you not? It's keyless entry. Like what?
But doesn't it make sense? Like, man, that key that everybody has to have. It's the best key that's come out in the last century. It's the key of the century, and we got it for you on your new Jetta, Katie.
Well, I could see if the salesperson was saying was like, this is the newest technology. This is something that everyone wants. Keyless entry is something that, you got to have nowadays. It's kind of like cruise control used to be, and now it's just in every car. Same thing with air condition. Maybe that would make sense. But I remember the salesman very well, and I can't imagine that that was the case. It's just key of the century. And she's like, and the thing is, I used to tell Katie sometimes when she had gone into a new endeavor and she had not bought a car that I had since I had
that's
known
right.
her at this point.
Correct.
And I used to say, well, take me through what happened. No. We're going to do it live on the air.
We're going to do it live on the air. I'm going to tell you everything live on the air.
Tiny, I want your gut reaction. I'm like, Katie, are you sure? Now, the most amazing thing about this is I must have had that conversation with her 100 times if I had it once, and never once, even after it was proven that maybe she should have, I say should have, but it gave us some great radio, so I don't regret it at all. But never once she would come out of a break and she might go, Tiny, from now on, I might want to, run these things by you,
That leads
never
me to
once.
No, well, that leads me to part 2 of, I don't know if you'll remember this one, Tiny. There are, just to give you a little insight to radio, there are things in the studio called liners. So there are certain events that we promote on the air that isn't just us talking about whatever. There's an actual read that we discuss about an event coming up or something, a remote that we're doing if we're going to be going live broadcasting somewhere. Yeah. So Tiny says, let's grab a liner and let's talk about this crab fest or this crab feed that's coming up next weekend. And I had not read this liner yet, so I wasn't really quite sure what it was. And I was like, okay, here it is. Let's talk about it. So Tiny says something like, join us on Saturday. We'll be out at wherever for this
There's a crab feed
and beer. And it's so great. We're really excited about it. All the proceeds go to whatever charity. And I'm looking at the liner and I said, yes. And I would really like to stop and thank Ace Barbecue for providing the the barbecue. And Tiny goes, Ace Barbecue? Mm-hmm. Ace? And now again, we're live on the air. And so I'm starting to sweat. Like, is it IC?
Well, and I tell you what, let me interject real quick. So the reason that Katie said she was sweating is because, like she said about these liners, a lot of times there's sponsors on there who pay a lot of money and pay a premium to have their names mentioned. So she's thinking part of it is, oh crap, am I saying the name of a sponsor wrong?
Right. And me mispronouncing something would not be par for the course.
Another bark in the kennel.
Things all the time. So I'm like, thank you so much, Ace Barbecue. You guys are awesome. And Tiny just kind of like, I could see his wheels turning. He's like, what is she talking about? What is Ace Barbecue? So he's like, Katie, tell me a little bit more about Ace Barbecue. And I say, oh, well, they're giving us all the chicken. They're sponsoring the
crabs.
And he says, "Can I see what you're looking at?" And now this is live, mind you. And I turn it to Tiny, and it says capital A, period, capital Y, period, capital C, period, capital E, period, which stands for, Tiny,
all you can eat.
All you can eat. And here I'm thinking Ace Barbecue.
Let me tell you now. Here's something that I don't know if I told you at the time, but this is what was so weird. This is one of those coincidences that you were talking about. When I would go to my great grandparents' house, and then my friend Dave used to live out on this particular road in Hagerstown, there was a Ruritan club that would all the time, every weekend in the warmer months, they would have some type of chicken feed, roast beef, crabs, you name it. And they would always have AYCE followed by whatever the food was. For years. I mean, years. I had no idea what this meant. I, like you, because there was no period, I just thought it was ACE. I didn't know that it stood for something. So it wasn't until probably a week or two before you made that flub up on the air that I finally, I don't know if I heard someone say it or if I just simply realized it myself, but that it was all you can eat.
Yeah.
So here I am. I'm making fun of Katie for not knowing this, when in reality, 2 weeks prior, I had just found out what this was. Now, the difference is I wasn't a dummy and went live on the air with this thing.
Without running it by Tiny first. Like, hey, is
exactly.
Ace like the company?
Well, I'm glad I didn't run it by you, because you would have been like, oh, hell yeah, it's Ace.
Yeah, I love Ace. Their barbecue is awesome.
Ace is the place for the best barbecue.
Ace is...
Yeah, Tiny, like the song. Apparently, not only do they have tools, but they give you crabs.
The helpful, the helpful hardware store.
Yeah, the helpful hardware store
provides, all the chicken and crab that you can eat. Well, this would be interesting to hear what kind of mistakes people have made where they thought they were hearing something and it was different from what it actually was. I have a great one for you, Tiny, and we can end it here if you're okay with this. You don't know this story, you'll love it.
Okay.
You know how much I love Halloween and how much I love visiting haunted houses and traveling to go see different places for Halloween. I was on Facebook 2 years ago, and somebody there's a Facebook group for Winchester, what's happening in Winchester. So people, I'm sure you have one up where you live where people post questions. And
bunch of busybodies.
Yeah. But sometimes I like to see, what is that new building that's coming into
occasionally.
town?
Yeah, you're right.
So somebody put on Facebook right around Halloween, what is a really good haunted house attraction near Winchester? And all these people started commenting, and they wrote, following. So I'm like, where the hell is this following place? So I start Google following Winchester, Virginia, haunted house following in Winchester, Virginia, and nothing is coming up. So I go to the gym. I was at the gym that night, and we were talking about like Halloween activities. And I said, you guys, because I'm fairly new to Winchester. I've only lived here for about 4 years. And I said, you guys have lived here for a while. Are you familiar with a haunted house called Following? And they said, no, I don't know this haunted house called Following. And I said, well, everybody's talking about it on Facebook, but I keep Googling it and I can't find its location.
Yeah, and they're talking about it on people's yard sale pages too for some reason.
And somebody said, I don't know if they said, let me see the post or could you read to me the post? And it's like 100 people wrote Following. And I'm like, well, my God, Following must be the place to be. Like,
I must go to the
recommending
Following.
It. You got to go there.
Yeah.
Not realizing that meant that you're following the post.
Yeah.
And then you see what people write because you commented in the thread of the post.
Now, it's quite possible that you are watching and hearing this and laughing a full-on guffaw at Katie. I want you to understand, I am laughing on the inside, but this right here,
I thought you'd like that one a little bit more. Actually.
I love it, but this is another. It's like a bark in a kennel. It just, I mean, I am so jaded to this. This is what I'm used to. This doesn't surprise me at all. You may think to yourself, sweet Lord in heaven, how could this girl have thought? Did she not see other posts where people asked about a lost pet, where, talking about the Following? So apparently pets are getting lost in this haunted house. I mean, imagine
the haunted house is just taking over the nation.
Yeah.
Apparently.
I mean, everybody, Christmas time. They're like, any good Christmas lights?
Everybody's
and
going
apparently, Following has the best Christmas lights, too.
Following's been closed since October, but everybody's going there.
Holy crap. I mean, a lost child. Following. Well, the haunted house took them.
There was another one when I just said this to a friend of mine. He said, well, for the longest time, when people would write TIA, which means thanks in advance, he thought they were talking about Tia. And so he was like, oh my gosh, who is this Tia broad that everybody is talking about? Like, I'm
Katie,
sure people
what's
have
the one
this
thing? What's the one thing on those pages? Because you just referenced a type of post with the whole haunted house thing. What's the one thing on those pages that ticks me off like no other?
And go ... Best something in the area.
That crap. If you do that, if you say and go, the whole point of you putting something there is to, and the reason it says comment.
Here comes the accent.
Is because accent or not. Is because that's where you comment. You don't have to tell people and go. And the other one that bugs me is when people say, please delete if not allowed. Well, thank you very much. Guest on this page. If it's not allowed, it's getting deleted. I don't need your permission. Oh my God. People, look, I could go on a 10-hour tirade about stuff on social media that does not make sense. But and go and delete if not allowed, just baffle me. Sometimes I cannot wrap my head around that. It's like, do you think people are sitting there and they're not going to comment unless you say and go? Like they're waiting for a start gun to go off so they can be like, and.
I think it's just very presumptuous. Like, do you think 1,000 people are waiting to comment? I also don't like it. I don't get as heated as Tiny does about it.
It's totally condescending.
People aren't waiting on like pins and needles to comment on your status.
Yeah. Oh, and then, Katie asked about a haunted house. Well, hell. And she said, and go.
Follow. Where's the best place to go? Following.
And go.
And go.
Oh my God. Yeah, I can't stand it.
Oh boy, Tiny. So listen, this time next week I'll be in Spain, and that's going to be an adventure waiting to happen.
Yeah.
So I leave on Friday. We'll be in Spain.
And Katie is going to send me pictures. So just make sure you are following the Tiny and Katie show on Facebook. Tiny Katie
Not
Pod.
the haunted house. Not the haunted house.
No. And whatever you do, don't type following because Katie's going to think that there's a haunted house in Spain that she needs to check out, and that's just simply not the case.
I'm going to get into Google. I'm going to get into Google Translate. Excuse me. Can you tell me where following is in Spain?
Oh well, there it is. No, next door. So Tiny and Katie Pod is on our socials. We'll post the pictures that Katie has. And what else you got?
I'm just going to say, again, big thanks to Roots Hair Design.
Yes.
I'm going to see Katie on the 24th, and I can't wait. Look at this mop. It's getting so bad. She's going to hide all my grays. Love you, Katie. Thank you so much.
I can't believe that you're not going to have your hair did prior to going to Spain.
Tiny, I am so busy every single weekend. I have something going on.
Yeah.
I'm really upset about it. But yeah, this is the mop I'm going with. So hopefully the Spaniards like it.
Well, a Spaniel, I'm impressed. The Spaniards.
Yeah, I mean, this is what they're getting. There's nothing much I can do about it, though.
Here's a question. Is it Spaniards or is it Spanish people?
I don't know. I would think because it was Spain, it'd be Spaniards. Why don't you Google it real quick?
I am going to Google it. I hope we didn't say something offensive because take that out.
Oh, boy.
Let me see here. We're going to Google. What are people in Spain called? Oh, my God. They're called following. No, they're Spanish or Spaniards. Yes, so you did not say anything offensive.
Well, good. I'm glad I didn't say anything to offend anybody.
Nope.
Yeah, so we'll see how the Spaniards feel about it.
Hey, I'm Tiny.
And it's Katie. Thank you so much, Roots Hair Design, and coming back for episode 6. We can't wait to talk to you again next week. Think of me when I'm in Spain.
Tuesday, 10 a.m., Tiny Katie Pod on YouTube, wherever you enjoy podcasts. Have a great week.